This assignment is Brazil. These are the points that I will be going across today. The main points are infrastructure and transport, the major industries of Brazil, their time orientation, power distance, and proxemics. So, transportation. Firstly, the main airport is Sao Paulo International Airport. They do have three international airports. Their main form of transportation is by road. The local transit system is dominated by buses. Subways are used but are limited to big major cities such as Sao Paulo. Um, Most of their train is primarily for moving items. So yeah, domestic flights are normally due to the size of the country and is very reliable. Is it easy for an American to drive here? For the most part, yes. Americans can drive in Brazil on their U.S. license for up to 180 days. After that, you would have to get a international permit. There are some things to consider when trying to drive in Brazil, such as the major cities have loads of traffic dominated by buses, as I said earlier. The rural areas, the roads, the lighting are a lot worse once you start leaving major cities and going to smaller areas, rural areas. Um, there's slight differences in the rules of driving. I know in America you could turn right on red regardless, unless the sign tells you not to turn right on red. In Brazil, it's the opposite. You can't turn on red unless there is a sign that permits it. The infrastructure of Brazil. So Brazil, in terms of water and power, do have some issues. Most of these issues are inequality between larger cities and rural areas. There are some defects with the infrastructure in terms of the differences between rural areas and cities. And 60% of the power comes from hydropower. So sometimes during the year, climate issues can affect that hydropower, which will cause Brazil to move on to more fossil fuels and can cause price fluctuation, inflation, stuff like that. Also, the water issues is that in those smaller cities of Brazil, more rural areas, their ability to get clean water is a bit limited due to the fact that the transportation methods to get to them are not the greatest. So these are the three main industries of Brazil: the service sector, the industry sector, and the agricultural sector. You can see the GDP numbers on the side of them. The service sector involves mainly tourism, financial services, including banking and retail. The industrial sector involves manufacturing, oil, energy, mining, and then the agricultural section involves agribusiness, where they are the number one in coffee, sugar, and oranges. Time orientation. Now, this is a massive difference. There is a massive difference between Brazil and America. Brazil's time orientation is polychronic. Some of the characteristics means that they value relationships over strict and rigid deadlines. Meetings may start and run later than intended. Multitasking in conversation may take place in one meeting, so multiple things happening at once during one meeting. Where usually in America, whatever is scheduled for that meeting is what will be talked about in that meeting. And being flexible is something that's needed, honestly, in this culture. So, if an American is deciding to come to Brazil to work, these will be things that they will have to understand and slowly learn and adjust to. Power distance. On the Hofstede's cultural dimension, Brazil has a relatively high power distance, meaning that they respect those in senior positions and authority. Those in charge are expected to take full responsibility, and the inequality amongst people is almost accepted. and that employees are less likely to be open in their criticism of their manager and employer. An American coming to Brazil, as an American coming to Brazil, is very important to respect those above you, and that your criticism must be dealt with in a private way. So, a little bit more about the power distance. If you are someone from America coming to Brazil, these are some of the things that you will have to understand and adjust to. Because in America, you can confront your boss and you can, be open about the criticism towards them because people don't necessarily take it as personal. Where everything in America is, are you doing your job the right way as best as you possibly can? The personal stuff is doesn't really matter too much. And proxemics. Proxemics in Brazil are very much different from those in America. Brazil, their greetings are very touchy, very warm, super expressive. They prefer to not have large distances, like in America, where you probably speak to someone and you guys are like 5 yards apart, 5 feet apart. The arm touching, small kisses, that's a no-no in America. In Brazil, that's accepted and that's looked forward to. Direct eye contact, though, is something that shows a sign of attractiveness and respect. But when dealing with those super older than you, like elders, those in authority at your job, looking down shows a sign of deference. So when it comes to the differences, if you're an American coming to Brazil, you will have to adjust that to people being closer to you and when they talk in more touchy and more expressive in their what's the word? Expressive in their feelings towards people. Overall, if you are an American moving to Brazil to work or wanting to start a business or move a company into Brazil, I think Brazil is a great choice. It has a massive economy, and but there are things that you must consider, that you must be able to figure out and understand how you are going to deal with these issues. You must consider the infrastructure with its deficiencies and defects. You must consider the roads, the water, the electricity, how they can vary from season to season, stuff like that. How you plan on getting your product from where you are to different regions, different places in the country. You must also consider the vast culture difference between America and Brazil, such as the time, such as their outlook on time, their the power difference, distance, and the proxemics, how people interact with people, how they talk to people, how conversations go out, how business deals happen, the power distance in terms of the respect for authority, regardless, and the criticism, the communication, all of these things. If you are someone that's willing to take the time and understand the differences and integrate them into the culture of your business when moving to Brazil, I can guarantee that you will be successful.